What's up, YouTube? Timmy's here. Now, since January thankfully is behind us here, I did saw a lot of interesting and some not so interesting movies of the month of January. So here is my official January 2025 movie ranking, where I rank from my least favorite to my favorite. All right, I pretty much saw about 90 films in January, pretty good there. So here is my ranking. All right, number 19 is the worst film I saw in January, and that is Flight Risk. Oh boy, Flight Risk, man. It's a shame too because it's directed by Mel Gibson, who I think is a. Despite Mel Gibson's as a person, take that aside, Mel Gibson still a good director. I mean, he directed Braveheart, Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know. Oh yeah, Apocalypto. He did. So I had some hopes for this one, because I also like Mark Wahlberg. I like Topher Grace. So I had some hopes for this. It is so bad, man. I mean, the dialogue in this thing is just abysmal. Mark Wahlberg's, all the time at the like during the Razzie Awards, they have an interesting a category called a worst, screen couple. I think for that nominee, Mark Wahlberg and his Bud Capture again Oscar nomination or Razzie nomination for a worst screen couple. Holy cow! And his terrible Larry the Cable Guy accent. Oh boy, so bad. And I like Mark Wahlberg too. I'm a Mark Wahlberg guy, but yeah. All right, number 18. By the way, Mel Gibson is a Hollywood ambassador. So take that. So what does that mean? Who knows? Speaking of Hollywood ambassador, number 18 is another film that's actually includes a Hollywood ambassador there, and that is the movie Alarium, which stars Sylvester Stallone. If you guys don't know much about the story, it's where these two married spies are caught in the crosshairs of their international intelligence network, and they are agents living off the grid. Whose guest retreats at a winter resort here. And of course, you got Sylvester Stallone's in this. This is pretty much like, let's say, a Mr. and Mrs. Smith type thing. You got Sylvester Stallone, Scott Eastwood, Willa Fitzgerald, who was really good in Strange, Strange Darling last year. Mike Coulter was in this. You had some interesting cast members, but this thing just wasn't all that good. The action wasn't great. The acting was terrible. It's just abysmal. All right, number 17 is a shock movie I saw in January, and that is Into the Deep. Now, this movie actually also stars Eddie Richard Richard Dreyfuss. Why did I freeze up on Richard Dreyfuss' name? Uh, and obviously he's no stranger to the shock genre because Jaws. Although his resume lately has been the best, but you also had Scout Tyler Captain, who you might know from as Laurie Strode from Rob Zombie's Halloween. Stuart Townsend was in this. It's where divers searching for a sunken treasure, witness the murder of this drug dealer by modern day pirates, and the killer shark is getting at them one by one. They really stuck out more with the pirates. I think this movie would have been much better if it was just the shark alone. This thing definitely wanted to be like Jaws. He definitely has a little bit of a Jaws feel to it, but the acting in this wasn't great. And it's a shame too because I do like Scout Tyler Compton, who if you guys ever seen her podcast with Danielle Harris, give their podcast a go. I mean she's pretty much like a horror. Her and Danielle are both horror icons, but yeah, just because I like Scout does not mean I'm gonna does mean she's in everything I've enjoyed, and this one definitely wasn't it. All right, number 16, maybe the worst Star Trek movie I have ever seen in years, Star Trek Section 31. Now, I don't hate it as much as Robert Meyer Burnett did. I mean, yeah, he definitely is not really fond of this movie at all. But this thing is just, I can't remember the last time I've disliked a Star Trek movie. But Star Trek Section 31, of course, starring Michelle Yeoh it it's just a horrible mess. Other than Michelle Yeoh, she was okay. She did her best, but the acting wasn't so good. It was like the effects just really felt like a TV budget, big time. You definitely tell this was a TV movie, and yeah, it's just a really terrible one. All right, now those are actually the films I thought was terrible. Now here are the movies I actually did quite enjoy. All right, number 15 is Grafted. Now this is a movie that just premiered on Shutter. That's checked out online. It premiered on Shutter recent. It's pretty much has like a little bit of a substance feel to it. Where this awkward but brilliant Chinese student wins a scholarship at this New Zealand university, and she finds a way to of achieving the popularity she craves here. And there's some crazy stuff that happens throughout here. I mean, it gets pretty bloody at times. The lead girl I thought was pretty good. The score was definitely decent. I thought it was a really decent little horror film worth giving a go. All right, number 14 is Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare. I mean, this is as great as I was hope. Like, it's not as good as let's say the Winnie the Pooh Blind and Honey movies because those I actually do enjoy a whole lot. But I still would say it was pretty decent. I thought the guy who played Peter was pretty good. Of course, obviously this does take place in the Pooniverse or the Twisted Childhood universe, if you will. It got really creepy. Some of the kills was pretty gruesome. A really fun time. Definitely looking forward to check out the next two, which is of course obviously Bambi Reckoning and the Pinocchio one. So that should be interesting. All right, number 13. Number 13, I'm going to go with Your Coronary of Fire. Now, of course, this is the new Will Ferrell, Reese Witherspoon comedy, where, of course, they accidentally booked two weddings here, at the same day at the same venue. Of course, Will Ferrell's character's daughter's getting married, while Reese Witherspoon's sister's also getting married. This is actually a pretty fun little charming film. I mean, Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon, who I'm a fan of them both, they were pretty decent in this. I never know how to pronounce her name too well. But the girl from Blockers, and she's going to be in the upcoming Thunderbolts. And she was just in Driveway Dolls last year. Geraldine Vezawenden, I think her name is. She she's actually really talented here. Definitely looking forward to see her more stuff in the future. I thought it was a really decent little film worth giving a go. Directed by Nick Stoll, who I've always enjoyed. Really good little flick. All right, if you haven't seen it, it's on Amazon, by the way. Number 12 is Better Man. I was a little late to the party with this, but while Better Man isn't as good as the director's last movie, The Great Showman, or anything, I still thought Better Man was pretty decent. I mean, the visuals of the chimpanzee, I thought was pretty cool. Definitely great visual work. Obviously, a weird biopic about Robbie Williams. I mean, what he was able to do with this is very interesting, to say the least. Of course, it was a complete flop, just that. But and the music, by the way, is good. I mean, I was not too familiar with Robbie Williams. Like, I've heard the name of Robbie, but never really much recognize much of his songs or anything. But I still thought it was a really decent biopic worth giving a go. All right, number 11 is Wolfman. Well, I admit it definitely could have been a little better. I still had a fun time with it. Lil Whannell, while it's not as good as let's say his Invisible Man film or anything like that, I still thought it had some decent moments. Like the transformation was pretty cool. The scenery was decent. Christopher Abbott was pretty good. Julie Garner was great. The kid actress, really, you could really buy her in this. I thought it was a really decent little horror film. I mean, definitely looking forward to see more Liam Winnell horror films down the line, but we'll see what else he has in the future. All right, now here is my official top 10. Number 10 is Presence. Of course, this is the haunted house movie about a family who becomes convinced that they're not alone, moving into their new house in the suburbs. You had Lucy Liu, the guy from This Is Us, Chris Sullivan was in this. Some really decent supporting players. It was pretty creepy here. Steven Soderbergh did a good job in this. With this film, really decent little horror flick. So definitely give that one a go. Number 9 is Dogman. Based on the books by written by the guy who gave us the Captain Underpants film or books, I should say. While this isn't as good as the Captain Underpants movie that came out in 2017, I know it had its moments. Pete Davidson, Isaac Fisher, voice talents was pretty good. The animation was pretty decent. You know, was pretty entertaining. So I'll say give that one a go if you guys haven't seen that. All right, number 8 is another film about a dog, and that is Wallace the Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. Of course, this recently got an Oscar nomination for Best Animated Feature. I don't think it's going to win. That's probably going to go to Flo, but still, it was a really decent anime film worth giving a go. It's not as good as, let's say, Curse of the Were Rabbit or anything, but I still had a fun time with it. It was still pretty entertaining. Really, the charm was still there. I mean, animated movies, other than that Early Man they did, that's probably my least favorite film they've done. But Wallace and Gromit is definitely one of like their better stuff, and really decent one there. Hopefully, we'll get more Wallace and Gromit in the future, but who knows? All right, number 7 is Den of Thieves Pantera. Now, of course, this is the follow to Den of Thieves, and I thought it was a really not as good as the first Den of Thieves, but I still quite enjoyed it here. The action, and this was great. Gerard Butler, O'Shea Jackson Jr. was pretty decent. It was really entertaining. So and obviously, it was just announced that a third one is coming, so we're gonna be getting more of that of this down the line. All right, number 6 is Back in Action, which is the new Cameron Diaz, Jamie Foxx action comedy. This is a really entertaining one. The chemistry between you could really buy Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz as a couple here. It's definitely an entertaining one to say at least. Really cool, and hopefully we'll be getting more Cameron Diaz in the future down the line because I'm glad to see her back in action. All right, number 5 is Unstoppable. Now, of course, this is the biopic about Anthony Robles, who was born with one leg and whose unbreakable resolve empowered him to defy odds here. And of course, you had like Jarrell Jerome, Jennifer Lopez, Michael Pena, Don Cheadle. It's really intriguing. It's really entertaining to watch. It's of course it was very heartfelt, very inspirational. It really showcased how good Jennifer Lopez is as an actress when she's not doing stuff like The Mother or or what's it Adolescent, I think was called, whatever that terrible Netflix thing she did last year. But this one was definitely a good one. All right, number 4 is why didn't Pamela Anderson get an Oscar nomination for this? Beyond me. Number 4 is The Last Showgirl. Seriously, how did with the whole controversy surrounding Armelo Perez, I'll be happy if they replace Carlos' nomination with Pamela Anderson's, because Pamela Anderson was excellent in this movie. You know, really showcase how great she is when she's not doing stuff like Barbed Wire, which that's actually a guilty pleasure, but still not anything to go by. And of course, Jamie Lee Curtis was great. You had Felicity Jones, Dave Bautista, which I really want to see more, Dave Bautista and more stuff like this. Not saying he should get an Oscar nomination for this film or anything, but he really do have some acting chops, and here really showed it. Brandon Song was good. Turner Shipka was decent. Billy Lloyd, really good flick. I'll definitely give that one a go. All right, number 3 is One of Them Days. One of Them Days was a really nice little comedy. Starring Keke Palmer, SZA. They, of course, here they place Drew and Alyssa, who are about to be evicted when Alyssa's boyfriend has blown their rent money, and they try to find themselves to avoid eviction and get their friendship intact. Of course, you had Cat Williams, Keke Palmer is good in this, Vanessa Bell Calloway, Patrick Gage. So really, this is cast members throughout. Definitely give that one a go. It's a really fun little comedy. All right, number 2 is Companion. Companion is a really nice little horror film. Of course, directed by Drew Hancock. Written by the guy who gave us Barbarian, Zach Krieger, Sophie Thatcher, who I'm becoming a fan of in this genre. Jack Quaid's great. Mega Siri. Crazy twists and turns. I mean, guys, if you guys have not watched Companion, give it a go. Probably the first great horror movie of the year, in my opinion. So definitely, give that one to go there. All right, now my number one favorite film of January. Now I know I joked about it being way too long than it should have and everything, but just because I'm joking does not mean it's. I'm just joking there. But my number one of like the best movie I saw in January is The Brutalist. Again, The Brutalist is way too long than it should have. I think they could have some stuff down a little bit, but The Brutalist is still really decent. I mean, of course, Adrian Brody, who's most likely going to get an Oscar or pretty much win his Oscar for this film, did a great job here. Felicity Jones, obviously, is going to win tons of Oscars. I really don't see Emilio Perez winning anymore for obvious reasons, but I'm thinking The Brutalist is going to be the one that should win Best Picture at the Oscar, but we'll see. I mean, it's a really decent one. Again, it is very too long than it should have. I I think Ray Corbett could have like slimmed some stuff down a little bit, but other than that, it is a really decent one worth giving a go. But that's pretty much it there. Now here is my rundown. 19 Flight Risk, 18 Aileron, 17 In the Deep, 16 Star Trek Section 31, 15 Grafted, 14 Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, 13 Your Coronary Divided, 12 Better Man, 11 Wolfman, 10 Presents, 9 Dogman, 8 Wallace and Gromit Vengeance Most Foul, 7 Den of D's Pantera, 6 Back in Action, 5 Unstoppable, 4 The Last Showgirl, 3 One of Them Days, 2 Companion, and number 1 The Brutalist. Now let me ask you guys, what are some of your favorite and worst worst movies of January? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simon Sign.